Hello and welcome to Norwood News. Today is Friday, October 5th, and I'm your host, Krista McDonald. At the beginning of Tuesday night's selectmen meeting, Town Manager Tony Mazzucco made an announcement to the public that will have a positive effect on the town for years to come.
But as you're aware, and the public may be aware, the chief's contract with the town is slated to end this coming April, and under state statute, he has just under 2 years left until he would be hitting the mandatory retirement age. However, Chief Brooks and I over the last several months have had quite a few conversations, and we've done some research, and he's done some soul searching and made some decisions about the next stage of his life and his career. And the chief's come to the conclusion, and we certainly applaud this, that he wants to stay with the town of Norwood beyond his not only his contract date, but beyond the mandatory retirement date that the state sets for police officers, which will require us to get a special act from the legislature, but that's no special heavy lifting. What basically means is that we are keeping Chief Brooks around for a while and for the foreseeable future, and he's going to continue to be our police chief, and we could not be happier with that.
Chief Brooks is very excited to serve this town for many more years.
So I've been a police officer for 41 years, and it's no secret that I love my job. I particularly have enjoyed my time here as Chief of Police in Norwood. So when Mr. Mazzucco first broached the idea of my staying past the mandatory retirement age, it sounded interesting to me. Normally under Massachusetts law, I'd have to retire within the next 2 years, but there is a mechanism for a town meeting and the legislature to allow me to stay, and that sounded really interesting to me and exciting to me. What I particularly enjoy the most are we have amazing people here at the Norwood Police Department. I think we provide great service to the community. The community has been very good to the department and very good to me personally, and I really look forward to hanging around a little bit longer. There's a few more things that I'd like to do, but particularly it's being part of this great organization, part of this great agency, and working every day with the men and women of the Norwood PD that excites me. So it's really my pleasure to stay and my honor to serve.
Congrats, Chief Brooks. We are so happy to have you around for many, many more years. The month of September was a busy one for the town of Norwood. Town Manager Tony Mazzucco recaps some of the special events that took place over this past month.
Hi folks, this is Tony Mazzucco, Town Manager here with some monthly updates for September and a look into what we'll be looking at in November. September was a very exciting and busy month for the town. Started off with Chief Maurice, our new fire chief, being sworn in. We had a great ceremony here at Memorial Hall. There were well over 100 people that attended his swearing-in ceremony, and he's hit the ground running as our new fire chief. We're happy to have Chief Maurice on, and he was joined by friends and family and fellow firefighters and fellow chiefs. It was a great day and a great celebration had by all. We of course had Norwood Day, which was fantastic. The Recreation Department did an excellent job with the event. The staff, Travis Farley and Katie Seastead, all of their staff and the volunteers who made it happen, brought a wonderful day together for the whole town. It was my first Norwood Day and I had a blast. I had friends and family come in from out of town and everyone had a wonderful day. I didn't get to do the pizza mile this time, which is a little disappointing, but I know I'll get there a little earlier next year to make sure I get to it. We also had our guitars going up around town. It's part of the Music Drives Us Foundation fundraiser, so you'll see a couple of them on the town common and elsewhere throughout town. It's all part of a fundraiser to support the foundation Music Drives Us, which supports music in public schools here in Norwood and throughout the state. Coming up on October, we've got some exciting things happening. The high school civics class will be taking a trip to DC. I'm sure you'll see more information about that coming out online. So they'll be heading down there for 5 days to study careers in public service, and they'll be touring our nation's capital and meeting with public officials and learning about different careers in public service. The town of Norwood will also be in mid-October for about a month hosting 2 fellows from Southeast Asia. So we'll have somebody come from Thailand and somebody coming from Singapore through the State Department, and they're going to be spending a little over a month in Norwood learning about our community and how we operate, learning about sustainability, and taking a tour of the region as well. And the biggest news we have to announce, as everyone probably heard this week, is that Chief Brooks, who was scheduled to retire due to the state's mandatory retirement age in about a year and a half, will be staying on with the town of Norwood. The chief loves his community very much and didn't want to have to retire, so we've worked with the chief and we've got to work with the legislature, and we will be keeping Chief Brooks on for a few more years. So he's stuck with us and we're stuck with him, and we couldn't be happier that he's staying with us. So kudos to Chief Brooks for his dedication to the community, and we're very happy that he's decided to go this extra step and continue to spend his career with the town of Norwood, and we're happy to have him here. Those are some of your updates for September and October, and looking forward to talking with everyone next month.
Thanks for the great info, Tony. Stay tuned after this break to find out what's happening in your local government.
Here we have Joe Spadorski here on his 18th hole, looking for his 3rd green hoodie. Here's Joe Spadorcia lining up for the shot. Here it comes. Dunny gave him a good club. The putter, of course. He's minus 13 on the day. This will clinch his third hoodie of his 4-year putting for patience career. Here it comes. Look at that stroke. That's well put. Spadorcia likes it. And he hits it. What a shot by Spadorcia.
Astonishing.
Putting for Patience is an indoor mini golf course and will be held Saturday, October 13th from 10 to 1 in the high school gym. This fundraiser will benefit the Jimmy Fund, and there will be prizes, face painting, and much more. Stop by, play some golf, and have some fun.
Welcome back to Norwood News. On Monday night, the Budget Balancing Committee met to discuss an array of topics. One of the items on the agenda was the discussion of the FY20 preliminary first pass, and the committee discussed a target date for October 29th, 2018.
The next item, we actually really covered that. That's the FY20 budget first pass. You know, we talked about that in the schedule where we'd like to do a preliminary first pass on October 29th. Which I think is doable.
Would you like me to explain what I've asked general government
Sure.
departments to do? So departments are prepping their budgets now. They've been told to come in flat except for contractual increases. And that may include items that not on the labor side, but on the operating side where we know the cost of a contract or the cost of a service has to go up because the dollar amount went up. They were told to subtract out anything that was a one-time increase from last year, not to put in any increases to the budget, but separately to have a list of anything they would increase if they could, and a list of cuts for their department. So we're going to compile not just a budget document, but that whole document so we
Okay.
can look at it and see where we'd like to be. And if we have to cut, here's where each department has come up with X thousands of dollars to cut and what
Good.
some of the ramifications of that are.
Okay, good.
Along with the date of the first pass, discussions included a proposal to create an open forum on November 29th to present the current work on the Budget Balancing Committee, as well as revenue increasing and the shared cost budget. The next Budget Balancing Committee meeting will be held on October 15th. Tuesday night, the Selectmen met with 3 items on their agenda. First, as mentioned earlier in the broadcast, Tony Mizuko announced that Chief Brooks will be staying past his required retirement age. After the announcement, Chief Brooks and Chief Maurice both presented their monthly reports to the board. The third meeting of the night was a public hearing for Acapulco's restaurant submitting an application for transfer of license.
What tonight is all about is simply a paper transfer, basically, from the existing owner of the license. If you may recall, the name of the restaurant is Acapulco's, and we have been in that location for all these years, but we were never actually the owner of the license. The landlord of the property was Annalise Incorporated, and they always retained the ownership in the license under our lease. So when Annalise actually sold the property this past year, there became the issue of what do we do with the license, because we're now transferring ownership of the building, and at this point, we did not have the license in our name. We were always the manager of record, but we didn't have the license in our name. So an arrangement was simply made to purchase the license from Annalise Incorporated. No changes whatsoever in the operations, no change in the manager or anything of that nature. So it's not like a transfer from one business to another with a new manager coming in. This is simply just trying to keep the license with the restaurant, because the owner of the property actually sold the premises this past year. So as part of that deal arrangement, we simply said that it makes sense for us to now own the license, and we made the arrangement to be able to buy that from Annalise.
The next Board of Selectmen meeting will be Tuesday at 7 p.m. in Town Hall. Also on Tuesday night, the Zoning Board of Appeals met to discuss 2 agenda items, both concerning areas at Endicott Street. The board approved of a 2-day amendment to a previous decision regarding the lot at 61 Endicott Street for both October 27th and 28th for the purpose of a seasonal event. as well as a new plan that acknowledges a new sign put up at the entrance of Endicott Woods. The board will meet next on November 13th. On Wednesday night, the Conservation Commission met in Room 12 of Town Hall with several appointments on their agenda. At 7:30, the Commission met with Goldman Environmental, representing Central Auto Team. Goldman Environmental was requesting ANRAD, or Abbreviated Notice of Resource Area Delineation. The Commission requested a wetlands expectation and continued the hearing for their next meeting. A request for a certificate of compliance was requested by 136 Plantation Circle and approved by the board. A notice of intent was filed with board by United Consultants in regards to their project at 596 Pleasant Street. The Commission made a motion to continue the hearing until their next meeting. The next Conservation Commission meeting will be October 17th. To watch complete government coverage, tune into the NCM Government Channel or watch it on demand at norwoodcommunitymedia.org. Stay tuned after this break to find out what is happening in your schools.
The Health Department will be hosting our annual flu clinic Saturday, October 13th at the Senior Center. It's open to all residents ages 14 and older, and we ask that people bring their health insurance cards. Health insurance is not needed for the vaccine, but we do bill your insurance, and that actually helps us pay for next year's vaccine, so it supports the flu program here in Norwood.
Welcome back. Now let's toss it over to Tim Rose to find out what is happening around the Norwood School District.
Hi guys, thanks for joining me for another update on events and activities happening around our Norwood school community. The Coakley Middle School PTO held a fundraiser this Tuesday at McDonald's. To make the event a little more special, they asked that CMS staff members come down and work a shift. Many families attended the event, and the kids really enjoyed being served by their teachers. A big thanks to Ms. Castillo, Ms. Siegel, Ms. Wells, Mr. Smith, Mr. Famigletti, and Mr. Greeley for being part of the Coakley McDream team. As we stated last week, the Callahan joined other schools from around the nation to participate in the Just Say Hello campaign. The week started off with an assembly and students pledging to say hello. The students and staff then participated in Hey Day by wearing name tags and saying hello to each other. Each student recorded the number of hellos, and as a school, the combined amount reached 5,012. Other activities involved Mix-It-Up Lunch Day and positive Post-its to a secret buddy. This was a great way to kick off the new school year and establish a sense of community. The students and staff look forward to continuing this effort throughout the year. What would a New England fall be without apples? Last week we talked about the Little Mustangs learning about apples, and this week it was the Cleveland School. They are fortunate to have 2 apple trees thriving in the back playground. Thanks to the hard work and effort from the Devlin family, students were able to pick the first harvest, Fuji and Empire apples. It is Spirit Week at Norwood High School, and Tuesday was Twin Day. The teachers took this event very seriously. Take a look. Norwood High School held a run, hide, fight drill on Thursday. Teachers addressed their classes, and then the entire building was evacuated. Students walked to the designated rally site and then returned to class. Thank you to the Norwood Police Department for coordinating this drill. The Prescott students have been loving their specials. Their library, PE, art, and music classes have been some of the most exciting times of their day. This week in music, the first and second graders have been focused on establishing a rhythm and staying together as a group while doing things like drumming on the floors. The third graders have started to explore their recorders, and they sound fantastic. Some of the most exciting happenings in music have been the 4th and 5th graders becoming familiar with many of the instruments. The 4th grade band, with over half of the grade involved, spent time this week reading music, learning about rest position, and practicing counting out whole notes and rests. If this week's practice is any prediction for how they'll sound at the holiday concert, we are in for a treat. The Oldham School Boosterthon Fun Run was held on Thursday. This is a fundraising event sponsored by the PTO with the support of the teachers and staff of the school. Last year, the Boosterthon Fun Run raised over $18,000. This year, it raised $12,000 for enrichment programs, playground equipment, and other educational activities. The Boosterthon was a week-long character-building fundraising event. The students got pledges for each lap that they ran. They averaged running 30 to 35 laps. Pep rallies were held over lunch this past week, which culminated in the fun run. The school is especially thankful to the PTO parent volunteers, Jen Carey, chairperson for the Boosterthon Fun Run, and parent helper Christine Carey for coming to the pep rallies daily. Thanks to all the parent volunteers who helped with the event, including Dr. Darren Reynolds, a parent volunteer who emceed the fun run. Thanks to the PTO co-presidents Katie Neal Rizzo and Kat Hare for their hard work to continually support the Oldham School programs. Well, that's it for school news. For more information around the district, please check the website, Facebook, and watch Norwood Community Media. As always, thanks so much for your continued support of our school community. Now let's go to Mike Maloof with the latest sports news.
Thanks, Tim. On Monday, golf, field hockey, and volleyball teams all competed. The golf team notched its 5th win of the season, defeating Bellingham. Field hockey came away with a tie against Old Bay State rival Wellesley, and volleyball fell to Norton 3-0. Tuesday was another busy day for the Mustang athletes. Golf and volleyball both lost to strong Westwood teams, while boys soccer finished in a 0-0 tie against Ashland. On Wednesday, golf got back to their winning ways, defeating Norton, while field hockey notched its 2nd tie of the week. A late goal by Allie McDonough evened the score at 2. Let's take a listen to that call.
A few final minutes. Crosses it over to Curran, who
That's
hits
the
it
play.
in.
Big
Oh,
save.
Huge save to
Get
follow
in.
up with a rebound.
Get in.
It's hard to see from here, but a stroke. I believe she called a stroke, which means the goalie was covering the ball. I just don't know who's going to take it. My guess is McDonough, judging from her placement on the field at the moment. Big moment for the goalie as well.
McDonough shoots, she
huge
scores.
Goal. Huge tying goal.
Norwood ties it up 2-2. Just over 90 seconds left in the game.
Thursday, the boys soccer team tallied its 1st win of the season, defeating Millis 3-0. The golf team lost on the road against Holliston, bringing their record to 6-5. That's all for sports. Now back to the desk.
Thanks, Mike. Now let's take a look at this week's Living Local.
Looking to make a splash in town? Check out Goldfish Swim School at 128 Carnegie Row. Goldfish creates an inviting and safe environment where kids learn to swim, conquer their fears, and respect the water while having lots of fun.
We offer weekly swim lessons for kids. According to the family schedule, they're able to come in on a convenient day and time for them, have their half-hour lesson. We try to provide everything that they need to kind of come in and have that experience and become more water safe and comfortable in the water. We do family swims throughout the week as well. We provide party opportunities for birthdays or other special events. And we have a swim team.
Owners Bill Burnett and Scott Hedges' roots to swimming date back to when they swam together in college.
Well, I think for our story is pretty cool for Scott and I. We are former competitive swimmers in college. We've known each other for a long time. And for us to get into business together and do this as something that we're really passionate about has been a good thing, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
in each of the communities we're in, I mean, it's good to kind of be vested in something that we've been passionate about. That's been a big part of us becoming who we are. Our kids are competent, successful swimmers, and it's just the 3 communities that we've been in, they've embraced what we're trying to do. It's been a very natural fit for these kind of communities with parents who want their kids to kind of have this kind of exposure to a life skill like swimming.
Yeah.
And it's just, you don't really feel like you're going to work every day. It's a fun, atmosphere. People are happy to be here. The staff is wonderful, and it's just a good group of people, both from the customer and the employees.
Wondering when to start your child in swim lessons? Goldfish Swim School believes you can start as early as 4 months.
Yeah, so ages 12 and under. And we start as early as 4 months of age. So as long as the baby has strength in his or her neck, we can take on right away. And we have it's called the Mini One program, where parents will actually go in the water with their child.
After establishing themselves in 2 other communities, Bill and Scott wanted to expand Goldfish Swim School to another community, and they chose Norwood.
So this is our 3rd school that we've opened. We're also opened a school in Braintree and one in Rockland. So this is our 3rd school, but it was a natural fit. I mean, this is a perfect location. We have great traffic that comes by here. We did a demographic study of how many kids are within this area and families, and we just felt really confident this was going to be a great spot for us.
Yeah.
Goldfish Swim School teaches kids a lifelong skill in a fun way. Be sure to check it out at 128 Carnegie Row, Norwood.
Last weekend, the Norwood Airport hosted the Collings Foundation Wings of Freedom Tour. Residents from Norwood and surrounding towns came out to see these World War II aircrafts in person. Jamie Minchell, the tour coordinator, talked briefly about the Collings Foundation's event.
Well, we've got authentic World War II aircraft that we toured the entire country. This is our 29th year of touring. I'm not sure the last time we were in Norwood, it's been a while, but we're going to be here all weekend. We do walkthrough tours of the aircraft, and we also do flights. So you can come out here, it's $15 for adults, $5 for kids. It's good the whole weekend. We're generally open from about 9 to 5, give or take, with flights in the morning. It might be a little bit later. And then you can walk through the plane, sit in the crew positions, you talk to the crew. We've got a lot of World War II vets out here, which is really surprising because we don't get very many anymore. And you can hear stories firsthand from these guys, which is pretty inspiring.
Along with telling stories to those in attendance, the veterans themselves were able to see the aircrafts that they spent so much time on many years ago.
It's amazing to see them all again, really. We had a B-51 outfit that was stationed with us, and that's a beautiful plane. It really is. That's one of the best planes we had, really.
World War II veterans were not the only veterans in attendance. Tom Keating, a Vietnam veteran, felt it was important to see the aircraft and see what his ancestors went through during World War II.
B-24 was a big airplane for its time, and I think they made over 5,000 of them. It's quite an honor to be able to see what our grandfathers, in my case, and great-grandfathers with some of these kids went through during World War II. Not for anything did they call them the greatest generation.
Even the younger generations appreciated the day.
We saw some guns, we saw some bombs that they dropped, and it was awesome.
Thank you to all the veterans for your service to our country. Well, that's all for Norwood News. To stay up to date with Norwood Community Media, follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. As always, thank you so much for watching. Have a great weekend.